Disclaimer. The information presented regarding the alleged interaction with an extraterrestrial being is not scientifically proven and should be approached with a critical and skeptical mindset. The views and opinions expressed in this context do not necessarily reflect those of this platform or its affiliates. The story is presented for entertainment and educational purposes only. I continued my conversation with Airl, and this time she mainly talked about the history of Earth over the past few 100,000 years, as well as the origins of humanity. Since she was not a historian, she connected with a communications officer from the same domain, stationed in the asteroid belt between Mars and Jupiter, who provided her with this information. The military immediately wanted to know what secrets were hidden in the asteroid belt, but Airl did not answer. However, to my knowledge, the asteroid belt serves as an entrance for interstellar travel within the solar system and is a gravitational, four-way intersection that is ideal for entry and exit between star systems. Our next focus of conversation is on the true history of Earth in the past. The history of Earth was characterized by its disorganization, leaving investigators bewildered. Countless crucial messages were missing, and myths and relics of dubious origin were widely propagated. The true events were arbitrarily distorted, and many pieces of physical evidence were lost due to Earth's erratic geological activity, which periodically submerged and shattered them. These factors, combined with the hypnotic effects of the Old Empire, forced filter, and their covert manipulation, made it extremely difficult to reconstruct the true history of Earth's civilization. Any investigator, no matter how talented, was bound to become deeply entrenched in uncertain hypotheses, unreliable conjectures, and eternal mysteries. Around 200,000 BC, the Old Empire established its headquarters near the Ursa Major constellation in the Milky Way. And at this time, the solar system and Earth became the targets of the Old Empire. However, the forced filter was not yet established. The records from the domain, around 75,000 BC, contained little information about the Atlantis civilization. This civilization was established by other Is-B from the universe, who were mostly reborn here to escape political or religious persecution in their home planetary systems. Many of them came from civilizations that had created space operas, so their civilization was incompatible with the later Earth civilization created by the domain. But why did the Atlantis civilization suddenly disappear from Earth's history? This was because the Atlantis civilization was located on the supervolcanic island of Atlantis in the Atlantic Ocean. After a violent eruption, volcanic ash quickly covered the entire island. The volcano erupted massive amounts of lava, creating huge cavities beneath the crust, which caused the entire island to sink to the seafloor. Evidence of the existence of the island and its underwater movements was later covered by lava. Around 30,000 BC, the Old Empire began building a forced filter on Earth, which served as a prison for selected Is-B. They began to accept a large number of reincarnated, degraded beings from the universe. At the moment when these Is-B left their dead bodies, the forced filter could detect and capture them. They were then subjected to memory erasure and sent to Earth. Around 10,000 BC, the first civilization created by the degraded beings was the Pyramid civilization. This was an important component deliberately created as part of the Earth prison system. This does not only refer to the Egyptian civilization but the Pyramid civilization worldwide. From Africa to Mesopotamia, from Central America to South America, and from India to South Asia. In these places, the worship of pyramids began. The Old Empire constantly used pyramids and a series of mysterious ceremonies. as a tool to enslave humanity and instill awe in the gods. This is why similar pyramid structures can be found in completely unconnected civilizations around the world to this day. The ancient Egyptians were the civilization that took the pyramid culture to its extreme. They believed that the pyramids were the abodes of the gods. So the Giza pyramid complex used a special layout, all pointing towards three mysterious constellations in the Orion constellation, which was the mother star of the Old Empire, and the constellation Orion, which represents the Egyptian deity Osiris, who rules over life, death, and reincarnation, has religious significance in that the pharaohs and Osiris jointly govern the seasonal cycles of the earth to ensure their eternal continuity. However, this is nothing more than a facade of the Old Empire. This is why there are legends of evil extraterrestrial civilizations associated with Orion in human history. The underlying logic of Egyptian society in the past was manipulated by religious officials, whose status was even higher than that of the pharaohs. They guided the people through mysterious rituals to instill a sense of awe for the gods. Because the Old Empire feared the people of Earth, the Is-Be may recover their subconscious memories. Around 6000 BC, a religious chant in the form of sacred poetry called the Vedas emerged in the Indian subcontinent, which was passed down orally from generation to generation. The Vedas were written in an ancient language called Sanskrit, and became the foundation of religion, philosophy, and culture in the Indian subcontinent. It is also the fundamental scripture of the Brahmin religion in India. Within it, there is a description of a pyramid-shaped flying machine, called a Vimana, which appeared in many parts of India. This was a way for the Old Empire to strengthen the worship of the golden pyramids in the Indian region. It allowed the Brahmin religion in India to become a more profound tool for controlling the Is-Be on Earth. In 1500 BC, the Jews wrote story of the sons of God, or angels mating with women on earth and producing offspring in the book of Genesis in the Bible. Much of the content in the Old Testament of the Bible was written by Jews who had been enslaved in Babylon and were tightly controlled by the religious officials of the Old Empire. This book introduced a fake concept of time and a false view of the origin of all things, which caused the Is-Be on earth to abandon their self and worship the gods, resulting in the mediocrity of individuals. Most importantly, it destroyed the recognition of the spiritual life of humanity as being unique. Since the empire began setting up interference devices underground in the Himalayas, the empire's mandatory network has begun to experience malfunctions and failures. Generally, the Is-Be brought to Earth by the mandatory network would have their memories erased before birth. However, due to the interference device's effectiveness, some of the Is-Be on Earth would recall some memories in their subconscious, thereby creating extraordinary achievements. In 800 BC, the Greek poet Homer was one such person, who broke through the hypnosis mechanism. He wrote stories about gods by borrowing and modifying early primitive data. His poetry collection, like many other ancient myths, accurately described those Is-Be who could escape the Old Empire's memory trap without needing a biological body. In 550 BC, the great Chinese philosopher Laozi was also a person who overcame the empire's memory loss processing mechanism. He wrote a booklet describing something called Tao, the Way, which is one of the concepts that Is-Be created for the universe. His understanding of himself as a Is-Be was so thorough that he achieved such a realm. Later, those who followed Laozi were merely people who spread his ideas. and none of them were able to break through the memory loss processing mechanism. He was the most accomplished sage in the Eastern world. In 200 BC, due to the continuous effectiveness of the Empire's interference devices, the Empire's control over Earth gradually weakened. The final remnants of the Empire's pyramid civilization were located in what is now Mexico, with the Maya civilization, the Teotihuacan civilization, and later the Aztec civilization being representative of that period. Their pyramids' astronomical layout is the same as that of the Egyptian Giza pyramid complex. The Teotihuacan pyramid in Mexico precisely points to Orion. Obviously, these builders obtained information through some channel. In addition, there is a huge underground city. When I described these stories in detail to the stenographer in the audience, I always had to confirm several times. It can be said that the Earth's history that Airl is telling is very different from the history recorded by humans themselves. Hearing this, I felt confused and uneasy, but at the same time, it made me feel very excited. Stay tuned for the next episode, where we will continue to delve into this fascinating story.